We all love Harry Potter, right? Well, if you don't, get the fuck out of here. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Stay, please. I need the algorithm on my side. If you don't like Harry Potter, that's fine because you're probably gonna like this video. The title is basically saying to all the people that love Harry Potter, including myself, they will never see it the same way again. And the reason for that is because despite this beloved book series, then film series, having been the biggest part of my personality for a good 10 years of my life since I first read Philosopher's Stone when I was 8, and that's probably the same for a lot of you guys out there, there are also a lot of issues with this beloved franchise, and it is beloved. There are so many people who might be watching this video and those out there in the wide world whose childhoods were affected massively by Harry Potter in a good way. I know mine was, at least. There was a point where literally everything I did, every single thing I did, had some element of Harry Potter in it. Having a conversation with a distant cousin who came over to this country for a holiday. What's your favourite Harry Potter movie? They say they haven't watched it. Yeah, get away from me, please. Talking to a stranger. Hey, have you read Harry Potter? Going to a high school for the first time. I actually asked people when I met them if they liked Harry Potter. Yeah, I was an obnoxious and probably quite annoying kid who was obsessed with the series to no end and probably too much, and actually distanced myself from people in school who hadn't watched Harry Potter.
Oh my.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Looking at me now, I have crippling social anxiety and can barely talk to new people, so you decide which one's better. But back to the point I was trying to make. Despite Harry Potter being such a massive thing for me in childhood and my teenage years now, as I reach the end of those teenage years, I do start to realize, whilst doing my pretty much monthly rewatch of any Harry Potter movie or my annual rereads of the books, there are a lot more issues with the series than you first realize. It's true, the amount of gaping plot holes, just nonsensical plot points, things, characters that make no sense, it's surprising how many there are. And not in a good way, because as you can imagine from my tone, there a lot of them, too many. And this is a video that I wanted to make because, well, to be honest, I don't know why I wanted to. I'm just gonna guess. I'm gonna bring miserable moods on you whilst you watch Harry Potter, noticing all those plot points. And I don't think it's ruined the viewability of the Harry Potter franchise for me in any way, but it definitely does perhaps reduce the enjoyability at some parts where you're just questioning and internally criticizing everything going on. So guess what? If I have to suffer like that, you have to as well, dear viewer, all 50 of you watching this video. You are suffering with me, fellow Potterheads. Or you could, just turn off this video and forget about it forever. But don't do that, please. Like I said, the algorithm dislikes me enough already. I need you here. But without any further talking, let's take a look at some of the biggest plot holes in the Harry Potter books. Because yes, we're sticking to the books. And talk about how unfortunately stupid some things are. So let's start with our good old friend, August Filch. Now, we all hate this guy, right? Wrong. Yeah, that's wrong. Wrong! You shouldn't be hating on this poor man. No, you should be thanking him, this poor, poor fellow. Just imagine this. You're August Filch. I know. It's bad enough already. But stick with me here. You're forced, day after day, in a magical school filled with magical kids and adults to clean this massive castle with no other help on your own. You are the sole caretaker of this gigantic castle, and you aren't even magical yourself. That's right. In this entire school consisting of only magical people, you are the sole outlier. And every single day from dawn till dusk have to be on your knees, cleaning up this entire facility without magic. I mean, how difficult would it be for Dumbledore to simply hire a magical caretaker who could do the job themselves? Filch is a squib, he can't even use magic to help him, and I get why Filch is in the story. He's meant to be the guy who hates fun, serving as a minor antagonist to Harry and the trio who love fun, and sometimes get up to a little mischief. I guess he also represents certain teachers, that you might have had in childhood who prevented you from getting up to any fun. But in reality, this is just a poor man who, for seemingly no reason other than the fact that he may owe Dumbledore a favour or something along those lines, has to clean up after everyone. How difficult would it be, like I said, to just hire an additional cleaner maybe to help Filch out? What has this man done to hurt you, Dumbledore, that he has to do this? It just makes no sense whatsoever. Filch should not be here if Dumbledore had a crumb of kindness or sympathy in his heart, which we know he does have. So why? Okay, I think the point is made. You get what I'm trying to say. Moving on. Okay, so hopefully I'll be a little less riled up with this one, but no promises. So secondly, we're going to talk about a lesser known plot hole, one that I would say is really not that discussed that much in the Harry Potter fandom as Filch's role and position in the story, because this one's about Victor Krum. That's right, the Victor Krum. The star Quidditch player, the best in the world, who's not even 18 yet. But, we can move past that since it's possible in real world sports too. And I'll give you one example. Take Kimi Antonelli in Formula One, who literally got a seat at Mercedes when he was 17. But that's not the plot hole we're talking about today, since it's not really much of an issue, but rather Krum's ability to turn into a shark in the second task of the Triwizard Tournament. Like I said, not a very well known issue as far as I'm aware, so if you've ever heard about it before, buckle in, because this is an interesting one. So the issue here is that, like I said in the second task, Krum turns into a shark in the second Triwizard Tournament task. Except that's a lie. He didn't actually know, but rather he transfigured his head into a shark's. Which, when you think about it for a few seconds, cannot make any sense whatsoever. You see, there are also things called animaguses in the world of Harry Potter. Humans who can turn into an animal, a process which takes a very, very long time and is quite, very, actually hard. And this is the entire animagus process if you want to realize just how bad it is. So, firstly, easily the hardest part, holding a single mandrake leaf in your mouth for a full month. A full month. Then adding a hair from your body, a teaspoon of dew that hasn't been touched by sunlight or human feet for a week, and the chrysalis of a death's head hawk moth to the leaf in a crystal vial. Not the easiest, as you can imagine. Then there's chanting the incantation Amato Animo Animato Animagus at sunrise and sunset every day while holding your wand over your heart. And finally, waiting for an electrical storm, moving to a safe location, reciting the incantation again, and drinking the Animagus potion. The process is, as you can tell, extremely difficult and time consuming, and most witches and wizards, they just don't attempt it. The first transformation is usually uncomfortable and frightening, and the process can go wrong, resulting in permanent half human, half animal mutations. Just think about that. But then, back to the plot hole, Krum is able to transfigure his head into a shark's. No, no, no. This can't be possible. This should not be possible. Because you're telling me that these people have decided to go through the arduous, the difficult, the almost impossible process of becoming an animagus, when that entire time, literally the only thing that they had to do was transfigure themselves. What? Because then all it takes for Krum is simply transfiguring his legs and body to become a shark as well, and bam, you've got yourself an animagus, which actually becoming, you don't actually have to go through the process of becoming an animagus or having to put yourself on the Ministry of Magic's registry for animaguses, which is another problem. How many unregistered people are out there in the wizarding world just transfiguring themselves into whole creatures? I don't know, because that's the exact point. No one knows. So sorry to all those people out there who become animaguses for no reason, because you literally could have just done some simple spell that Krum did and become that animal. Then back to a probably better known one and just as big of a problem, Veritaserum for our next big plot hole. So Veritaserum is the potion we see Snape threatening Harry with in Goblet of Fire, the potion that, at least according to Snape, makes a person reveal their deepest, darkest secrets with just one drop. So this sounds great, right? This should be a brilliant tool in trials and when prosecuting criminals, particularly Death Eaters, to see if they're telling the truth about being under the Imperious Curse by Voldemort, which is what a lot of Death Eaters actually did and claimed when they were imprisoned, that they didn't know what they were doing. So why? Why? Why would Veritaserum not be used, at least as a final precaution, instead of letting these alleged Death Eaters just roam around free? Not even alleged, actual Death Eaters, literally just go free. What? You could say the Veritaserum hadn't been made yet at that time when the Death Eaters were all caught, but then why in Order of the Phoenix during Harry's trial for casting magic would Veritaserum just not be used to double check whether or not Harry was telling the truth about the Dementors? That could have been put in from the start so that this entire trial was just cleaned up straight away. It really, really is that simple. When you've got a potion like this, there is so many good uses for it, and they just don't. Also, another pretty obvious one, Sirius being put in jail wrongfully for being in cahoots with Voldemort and killing a bunch of muggles. Where is the Veritaserum, people? I feel like a lot of this is J.K. Rowling, who is good at doing this, by the way, introducing really new, cool, new artifacts into the wizarding world to make it even more magical and whimsy and better than the muggle world. But then maybe what she's not so great at doing is considering the implications that this would actually, have on the world inside the story and how it should be implemented, leading to these bigger plot holes. And in a similar vein, Felix Felicis, I think that's how you say it, another potion. Again, Rowling is good at introducing these potions and magical artifacts in a way that makes you want to have one right now. Like, you will pay hundreds of pounds for the merchandise for that. And it, of course, increases the whimsicalness and beauty of the world. I don't think whimsicalness is a word. Tell me if it is. But then, the artifact in question makes no sense whatsoever. Because, think about it, in the story. Just think about this for a second. This is an extremely rare and difficult potion, as Slogan says, but it is a drink that gives the drinker an enormous amount of good luck, helping them to accomplish tasks and feats they might not have been able to do without. So why on earth would this unbelievably convenient potion not be being made all over the wizarding world? Voldemort should have had warehouses where these are just in mass production, a batch of 100 Felix Felicis being produced a day. And you could counter by saying that Slughorn said it was extremely difficult to brew and dangerous if gone wrong. But if it was really that impossibly, unbelievably difficult, I find it hard to believe that Slughorn would be handing it out to a bunch of 16-year-olds, or at least one 16-year-old, instead of either downing the whole thing himself, or keeping it hidden away and protected for future use, like, for example, at the Battle of Hogwarts. Simply put, Felix Felicis is a massive plot hole in Harry Potter because of how convenient, how good it is. It's too good, and I am flabbergasted by the fact that it was not more common in the wizarding world, especially for Voldemort. But then again, he's not always been the smartest with his plans, has he? Like, for example, and this is a good segue, not just using the unbreakable vow on his Death Eaters so they could never betray him. That's another big plot hole. But now let's move away from potions, but to another well-known magical artifact, the Marauder's Map. So the Marauder's Map, as you most likely know, is an enchanted map created, of course, by yours truly, the Marauders, Sirius, James, Peter, don't think Peter should count, and Lupin, who, when they were at school together, basically created the map allowing the user to see the whereabouts of every single witch or wizard inside Hogwarts, which, is pretty handy. Until you realize one big problem with this: Harry can see Peter Pettigrew on this map. So surely, without a doubt, he should also be able to see Scabbers in the Gryffindor dormitory when he's sleeping there, and he would have said Peter Pettigrew. And if not Harry, maybe at least Fred and George. I mean, just think about that. Fred and George, in all their years of having the Marauders map, never once looked at their own dormitory and saw that there was some random guy whose name they did definitely not know, sleeping in their brother's bed, or at least sleeping in their dormitory. What? How have they not seen that? They have to have seen that. What? They, does this make any sense to you? Surely somewhere, sometime on the map, in all the years they've had it, they have seen Peter Pettigrew's name in Ron's bed or in their dormitory. I mean, the only explanation I can think of is that Fred and George thought that Ron was actually gay and didn't want to ask any questions so as not to embarrass him or cause any unwanted tension in their family over Ron being gay. But then even this Peter Pettigrew wasn't in their school at the time. There was no way they wouldn't have realized that Peter Pettigrew is not a Hogwarts student, at least at that time, considering how small the population of the school is, which is an issue within of itself. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, that is a big problem. They just didn't see Peter Pettigrew sleeping in their brother's bed. Right. Fun. So, we'll just leave it at that since it's a pretty popular, well-known plot hole. But on to our next one, which I did just mention, because they just keep on coming, ladies and gentlemen, and continuing on from the population issue I just mentioned. So yes, the population issue of Hogwarts. And this one's is pretty simple. There are 5 boys in Gryffindor in Harry's year. That's right, 5 boys. That's it. That's literally just it. 5 boys. Dean, Neville, Seamus, Harry, and Ron. So following that logic for all the houses in their year, including the girls, that's 10 students per house in 1 year and 14 total for the entire year. So in Harry's entire year, including Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin, there are only 40 students, 40 magical children in Harry's year across all of England, across all of the UK. Then multiply that by 7 for all 7 years, and you only actually get 280 students, which is a mind-bogglingly low amount, at least for me, when in my school alone, 2-year groups added together, only 2, make up just shy of 280. That is such a low amount of students within the school, especially in such a big building, a castle like Hogwarts. And think about that. When you've got this age gap of around 7 years, from 11 to 17, you've got 6 years, 6 age groups, and only 280 people in that age gap in the whole of the UK are actually magical. 280. That's a big problem. But now, on to our last two, because I don't want to hit too much or go on too much about the issues in such a beloved franchise to myself and for you guys. So let's get to it. Firstly, we have one issue that, whilst I would say it's quite small, annoys me every single time I read it. So in Prisoner of Azkaban, when Sirius, is captured by the Hogwarts staff, he's sent into one of the towers and locked away, of course, to get ready for the Dementor's kiss. So when Harry and Hermione get to the tower to help him escape, you'd think that there would be some sort of, maybe, I don't know, protection around an alleged mass murderer and Voldemort follower and escaped convict inside a building full of kids. But no, there's no one. No one. Hermione simply casts Bombardier and bam, all 3 of them are out scotch-free. Explain that. Yeah, please explain that to me, someone, because it doesn't make any sense. It should not be that easy at all. But now, on to our final plot hole for this video. I promise, if you want to follow up, by the way, just make sure to tell me in the comments. But the last one for this video is the Thestrals. That's right, these freaky, slightly scary, not very pleasant looking creatures that draw the carriages at Hogwarts. Now, the main thing about Thestrals is that they can only be seen by those who have witnessed death before. So after the goblet of fire, when Harry saw Cedric die right in front of him, it makes sense that he can see the Thestrals at the beginning of Order of the Phoenix. Wrong! Wrong! No! Wrong again! You're wrong! You're wrong! No! He should still be able to see them since the Chamber of Secrets. That's 3 years ago, when he literally saw Quirrell die in front of him in Philosopher's Stone. You know what? You can go further back than that, to when he was a baby. He saw his mother die right in front of him, didn't he? Those Thestrals didn't turn up till Order of the Phoenix or something. I'm guessing they just decided to pull the carriages in, because that is now another massive plot hole. Harry should have seen them way earlier. Now, I do realize that I'm most likely not the first person to point out these issues in Harry Potter, and so the title of the video might not necessarily apply to you, but for some, if it has, I apologize sincerely for doing this to you, but like I said, you shall suffer, or you shall suffer with me. But that is the end of today's video. Thanks for watching up until this point, and make sure to subscribe. If you want to, just click that button. It's just a single click, because this is a growing channel, and honestly, one simple click of the subscribe button would really, really help out, and I would be hugely grateful to you. Subscribe, please. But anyways, if you want to follow up, make sure to tell me in the comments. That is the end of today's video. Thanks for watching. Doth Sauron out.